Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well out there today. Welcome back. It is time for another episode of Trucker Money, number 27. We're going to talk about the week of November 9th through the 13th. If you're new here, so we talk about money, finance, investing, passive income, everything outside of trucking to build a future for ourselves, for retirement or whatever purpose. It's not investment advice, just my personal journey to inspire you to kind of bring yourself along and get going on something for yourself. Every week we start by kind of doing a weekly recap of what happened with me for the week, what I earned on the side, a little bit of money from YouTube. That's still kind of getting going, slow but sure. Earned somebody used Mudflap app for the first time, so we both earned $10 in free fuel. If you're not familiar with that, download the Mudflap app for some good fuel discounts. Use promo code DIY Semi. We will both get a $10 fuel credit the first time you fuel, and you'll get some pretty good fuel discounts to go with that, with no fuel card required. The network's getting pretty big. I see the new stop up here in Massachusetts is 45 cents per gallon off the pump price. Just saw another one pop up out there in Utah, so it's kind of getting out there to the west. Definitely check that out. So for this week, once again, busy week. Freight comes first, man. Work is busy. Didn't make any new investments for the week. Just kind of let everything work in the background. Doesn't need my attention. It'll be there when I need it, and I'd like to get back to that soon. No dividend cuts or increases for the week. I have a passive income dividend portfolio. It pays me every week of the year. And this year, the only company that, this week I should say, the only company that paid me was ticker symbol O, Realty Income, with a current yield of 4.43%. So it's kind of nice to have that going on in the background while I'm focused on something else. Big news I want to talk about today, and this is just kind of happening today, we finalized on Monday, is the company Pfizer. You've probably heard about them in the news lately. They've come up with a vaccine for this thing that's going on right now, and they are spinning off their Upjohn division, which is their generic drug division, and they're going to spin it off, and then immediately Upjohn is going to merge with Mylan, the drug company, and they're going to be a beast, in my opinion. We'll wait to see how that turns out. Now, this is the first time I've gone through a spin-off like this, so it's interesting. Wanted to talk about it. Now, I am a Pfizer shareholder. Now, if you're a Pfizer shareholder, you will retain all your Pfizer shares. You can sell them. You can do whatever you want, but this is just how the deal is going to go. Now, the numbers I've read is that for every share of Pfizer shares that you hold, you will receive 0.12 shares of the new company. So 100 shares of Pfizer will get you 12 shares of the new company. The new company is going to be called Viatris or Viatris. I haven't even heard it said before, so I'm not sure how it's pronounced. And the ticker symbol, it'll be on the NASDAQ. It'll be VTRSV, from what I'm being told. Now, all this I've read from a reliable source, but if anything changes, I will definitely let you know next week. Now, what happens when a company spins off like that? Well, it would be expected that Pfizer shares would come down and they will cut their dividend. But it's not because they're failing or a bad company. What's happening is when you spin off a company like that, you extract value. Okay? So Pfizer's dividend, will the new company pay a dividend? We don't know. From what I'm reading, yes. It's expected that they will pay 25% of their free cash flow as a dividend to shareholders starting next year. Now, so Pfizer's dividend will likely be decreased. Incidentally, they pay on Monday, so I don't know if Monday we'll get the old rate or the new rate. Maybe it won't change at all. If they do cut it, what you would do is take the new dividend from Pfizer, the dividend from the new company, put them together. I would expect them to be relatively close to what the old dividend was in Pfizer. Pfizer shares will likely decrease in value, and it's not because they're a failing company or whatever, but you've taken some value out of it, so you got to reduce the share price. Now, you haven't just lost that money, you're getting that over here with the new company. Okay, you could end up actually with more, because adding the two back together, it may be more than originally you had, and likely these things happen this way, probably will be. A lot of times spin-offs have a way of like unlocking shareholder value in a company. So Pfizer could actually go up in value. We don't know. The new company could go up right away. We don't really know. And with everything going on with Pfizer right now with the vaccine and that, I mean, to me, it's even more of a toss-up. Like, hey, this thing could go way up. Now, after they spin off Upjohn, Pfizer will be more of like I guess a biotech type thing than just a pure pharmaceutical. I'm going to keep it. I'm not getting rid of it. And I'm probably just going to keep the new company. I expect that new company, it's going to be a giant company because Mylan by itself is a big drug company. So we will see. I'm going to keep it. I think it might turn into a beast. I don't know. Limited information on it right now. It's going to be a brand new company. So I'll keep you posted on that. Maybe next week we'll talk about that again and see what happened with the Pfizer dividend, if anything out of the ordinary, unexpected happened. Now this week I want to talk about, if you follow the channel, last Saturday night did a live stream, had a guest on, Cash is King Trucking, great channel, go check that out, subscribe, tell them I said hello, tell them I sent you there, and kind of did it interview style. I wanted some numbers to use kind of for a project I was working on for trucking, and he's pretty honest about that, puts up pretty good numbers. The man has similar goals to what I have, just with a different end goal. Okay, he's out there hustling and killing it for 2 years to save up enough money to put a huge down payment or pay cash for a house. Okay, I'm doing something similar, but it's not for a house, it's for something else. It's for this project that I was working on here. Okay, now this is a big thing. This is not easy. I'm not going to sit here and say this is easy. This is the hard work. But if you automatically think you can't do something, you're right, you can. But I've done this, and he is kind of doing this just in a different fashion. So it can be done. So I don't even want to hear it that it can't be done. Likely you're putting in this level of work already. It just takes a different shift of what to do with your money. Okay. Now let's say we live streamed about it, but I kind of got distracted off on the side because I had a guest and another guy stopped in and had a couple drinks, and well, you know how it goes. So I just wanted to kind of go back to it and talk a little bit more about it, give it the explanation it deserves. Okay. Now this is kind of more or less proof of concept. Proof of concept is just you lay out numbers, show something that can be done. You don't get into the finer details because you just want to know on a broad concept of, does this plan work? Is it even worth pursuing? Okay, so it's proof of concept, but not really, because I've done it. Okay, so it's just a matter of the finer numbers detailed to your life rather than my life. Okay, well, like I said, it took me 4 years to get here, so it's not easy. This is not where you start with trucking. This is how you finish. Okay, people will have a problem with this, say it can't be done, it's not worth doing. But those same people will go and right out of driving school and lease purchase a $150,000 brand new truck from a mega carrier, which is way harder deal to do than what I'm going to lay out. But hey, whatever, you know, different strokes for different folks. Now with this plan, I'm not going to talk about taxes and interest because it's so particular to each person for taxes. Now we're going to talk about dividend income, of course. We'll bring that in. If you want to learn about taxes on investment income and how it's different from ordinary income, go watch Trucker Money 19, okay? It'll lay out taxes in relation to this scenario. But really, over the course of time, taxes aren't going to be a real big thing in this, because with your business and depreciation on the truck, you kind of understand you're going to offset this income, all right? So taxes will be minimal. And we're going to leave off interest on truck loans, because shortly after you get started, the first cycle or 2 cycles, interest is going to go away because it's going to be feeding cash rather than you paying out interest. You're going to be bringing cash in. You'll see in a second. Okay, now what am I talking about? Okay, there's something that rich people do, we can do too. Let's change a mindset and do it. I think I first kind of grasped this concept from Robert Kiyosaki. He was interviewing his wife, Kim. She wanted a new BMW. And she's like, well, I can't afford it. And he's like, well, rather than say I can't afford it, change your wording and say, how can I afford it? Okay, what do I have to do to be able to afford this BMW? Well, what she ended up doing, long story short, was going out and buying several rental properties, waiting till they cash flow, and letting those rental properties buy her that BMW. Okay, so obviously the BMW wasn't free, but she found a different way to pay for it. Long story short is, rich people let their assets and their investments pay their day-to-day expenses. Okay, now what if you had assets that generated enough income to pay for your truck, not just once or twice, but on a revolving, ongoing basis? What would your trucking career look like if you never had to pay for a truck, never had a truck payment? What do you think that would look like for you? Well, let's kind of get into how we could accomplish that for a minute. Now, I understand the concept of paying cash for trucks, paying cash for equipment. Big fan of it. If you're doing that, hats off to you. Good for you. You'll come across somebody every once in a while that says, I'm going to save up 150 grand. I'm going to go out, pound it out, save up this money, and I'm going to pay cash for a truck. Well, recently thinking about that, it's a different way to do something there that I've become a big fan of, okay? Here's what I'm talking about. And the gentleman I was interviewing, Cash is King, is kind of doing this. Sacrifice, extreme sacrifice for a short period of time to change your whole future, okay? What he's doing is going out and humping it for 2 years to save up a large sum of money to put down on a house, okay? Now, what I did took me longer, 4-ish years, give or take, and take that similar amount of money, put it to work with investments that generate income, and the income that it throws off could buy me not a new truck, but a good truck every 4 years for the rest of my career. Okay, so how do we get that done? Well, let's be honest, the rates are good, things are good in trucking right now. You can pile up cash. I don't know what your home life is or whatever, but the gentleman was talking to was, $50,000 a year-ish, and he's got 4 kids at home and a wife and a household. Seems to think that if you're a single person, you could maybe stack up $75,000 a year for a couple of years. I don't disagree with him. I think that's to most people that would seem a pie in the sky number, but okay, if it is, it's too much. Back it off. Just do it over a couple more years. All right. Now, if we could save up, well, first let's talk about a truck. If you could kind of moderate a little bit and say, I don't need a brand new truck. I just need a really, really good truck at a good price, good mileage, good fuel economy. And maybe I'm not the kind of person that wants to keep it to over 1 million miles and repair it all the time. I want to put it on a 4-year trade cycle, okay? Well, we're going to use his truck for instance because I think it was a very smart purchase. It was a $38,000 truck, 400,000 miles, spec for fuel economy to the nines, okay? I think that's a smart purchase right there. That's exactly what I'd be looking for. Paid $38,000 for it. Now, bought it during the pandemic when nobody was buying trucks, so probably got a better deal on it than maybe you would any other time. So say $40,000, $42,000, right in that price point, okay? Trucks are, you look around, you can find the deal you want on a truck, okay? We'll put that on a 4-year trade cycle. So $38,000 we're going to amortize that, divide the payment into 4 years, and that comes out to $9,500 a year, $791 a month. Okay, obviously the payment's higher than $791 a month, but you would pay it off sooner than 4 years. You'll see here in a second what I'm getting at. So what we would need to do is generate $9,500 a year in income from our investments to provide yourself that truck at no out-of-pocket, right? So he's out there humping it for 2 years, saving up $100,000. Well, if you were younger, didn't have the home expenses, could stay out longer, if you could put away 75, or you do it over a few more years, let's say what would happen if you saved up $150,000, right? Just for the greater, call it the greater good of having a small sacrifice for your later years. $150,000, if we put that away and invested it at a 5.5% return, well, you say, well, that's a pie in the sky. Banks are paying less than 1%. Well, if you follow the dividend portfolio that we talk about every week, you'll see that there's companies with higher yields, lower yields. The higher yields tend to not grow so much over time. The starting yields, the lower starting yields tend to grow more over time. For this scenario, I would pick for myself, and that was what I have done, is the higher starting yields, like utilities. I got right around 18 or so companies in the dividend portfolio that would meet this qualification right off the bat. Several are even higher than that. Okay, so $150,000 at 5.5% yield per year is $8,250 versus the $9,500 that we need. $687 a month. We came up about $100 a month short of what we need to have that portfolio provide us a truck every 4 years, didn't we? So, guess it's not worth doing. We didn't make it. Well, bull. I mean, what if this thing paid for 90% of your truck for the rest of your life? I mean, come on now, let's be realistic. Obviously, that $687 doesn't meet your truck payment or, $1,500 or whatever. This is where I'm talking about proof of concept. You got to do what's called amortizing here, okay? After the first year, things catch up, they even out, and it won't matter after that first trade cycle. It'll all kind of shake out in the numbers. That first year, obviously, you're going to make that $1,500 truck payment, but you're going to pay it off sooner than the 4 years, okay? So, and then after that, the investment income feeds into itself and builds, and then you take the money, pay cash for the next one, okay, every 4 years. If you understand what I'm getting at, this is how you figure numbers on things. You have to fully amortize. Like if you pay cash for a $150,000 truck, but you keep it 10 years, obviously it costs you $15,000 a year over the course of that 10 years, not $150,000 all at once, if you kind of understand what I'm saying. So what if we went to $175,000 lump sum investment? Now you're not going to touch this money. That generates $9,625 per year. That gets us to where we need to be, doesn't it? Actually, you're several dollars a month over that. So there you go, right there, okay? Now, these companies that we invest in tend to raise their dividends every year. So after the first trade cycle, that first truck, the next truck, maybe instead of $40,000 spending on it, you're going to spend $47,000. Truck after that, maybe $55,000. Then after that, maybe $60,000. So you're kind of upgrading. You're going to upgrade yourself into real nice trucks, okay? These aren't going to be junk trucks, but they're going to be money makers. Now, obviously you have maintenance stuff like that to go along with it. You have that no matter what. Whatever truck you buy, you're going to have that if you work this plan or not. So let's coming up, it doesn't work because you got this. It doesn't work because you got that. Well, then go do that, okay? We're talking about this over here. Now, it will provide you this income for the rest of your time, the rest of the time you're in business, on an ongoing base, indefinitely. It will increase every year. Now, one thing I did not include in this is the trade-in value of the truck you're trading in. So after that first truck, the next one you're going to upgrade to a $45,000 truck. Well, you're going to have a trade on top of that, maybe $10,000. It won't be worth much, but maybe you're up to a $55,000 truck. And then the next one with the trade, you're up to a $70,000 truck. So you kind of grasp the concept here. Now, how much would that change things for you? If you could run this business, you could damn sure make it through the downtimes really well, couldn't you? Not only that, but when you're done trucking, this portfolio over here is still there, indefinitely working for you. Then you can do something else for with the money. Go on vacations, do whatever it is you do in retirement, buy a fancy sports car. So all those years you're working with free trucks, not making a truck payment, what are you going to do with all that money? Well, that allows you to build even more for yourself. When you look at the whole bigger picture, it's really a snowball effect, okay? And can really get you to where you want to go faster for 3 or even 4 short years of sacrifice. And like I said, you're probably doing 90% of this work anyway. It's just a matter of, okay, I'm going to, cut expenses, really going to focus on this. get my family on board. They're going to be on board because I'm going to explain to them how this plan could go. But you can do it. I did it. My friend over here, Cash is King, is doing it. And I suspect there's plenty of people out there doing something similar to this. So I just wanted to point out concepts like this to you because I don't think anybody else is really doing it. We get focused sometimes, and when we should be, on our business and what's right in front of us. Like, trucking is what I am, and that's what I'm laser focused on. But, you know, there's a lot of people from trucking that came from the military, and they bring military ideas into this. And there was people that are ex-cops, people that are ex-mechanics. They bring that in. Go seek out other things to bring into your business for like the perfect synergy, okay? And that's when you got it going on, right? And the nice part about it is you can customize all this to you. It's all perfectly customizable. Now, even though I put myself in a situation where I can do this, I don't use the money for that. I use the money to compound my investing because it's my life goal. I don't really want to do this till I'm 65. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just my different goal of getting out sooner, maybe doing some other things. So, you know, if you don't want to do this to provide yourself a free truck for the rest of your career, maybe you provide yourself, okay, I set up this portfolio, and every year for the rest of my life, it's going to pay my property taxes, it's going to pay my car insurance, my house insurance, it's going to pay, you know, whatever I designate. That's the nice part about money. It will do whatever you tell it to do. So come up with your own plan. Go out there and kill it. And if you like videos like this, hit that like button, subscribe, check out the video on the screen now, and we will see you next time.